slight cold start to a beautiful winter's day here in Lamington National Park. We're actually staying at O'Reilly's Rainforest retreat, which coincidentally is actually their 100-year anniversary. It was officially opened back in 1926. So we'll head off now. It's obviously less light in winter, so we need to maximise the daylight hours. We've got a full day ahead of us, so let's go. Coming up to a bit of a clearing here. It's a lot more open just in this section. Obviously trees have come down and opened it up a little bit more, but Lamington was actually declared a national park in 1915, so the early tracks that were very rough tracks were put through by the O'Reillys and others, so obviously so they could get out and find all those amazing things that are out here, whether that's gorges, waterfalls, and the different peaks, and just specific topographical features that are unique here. But graded tracks and properly constructed tracks didn't start till about 1937, I believe, and then the border track which we're on, which actually runs from O'Reilly's all the way around to Binnaburra, which is a bit over 20 k's, I think it's about 21, 22 k's. It was finished, took about 18 months, it was finished sometime in 1938, so it serves a lot of the tracks run off the border track, so it's a good track to start on so you can get off onto others, which is where I'm starting today. I don't know if you can hear that. It's actually a lyrebird calling. It is unbelievable what those birds can mimic. Yeah, that's and it echoes really nicely through this gully here. But it depends on the environment that they're in. It will depend on what they mimic. Yeah, a while ago when I was on the border track doing another hike, again early in the morning, there was a lyrebird ahead of me walking, but every time I moved closer it kept moving because it wouldn't let me get too close, but I still got some half decent footage of it. So just coming around this bend, there's actually a junction here that takes you up to a rock cairn, and it essentially is the old campsite for the crew on the O'Reillys end when they were constructing this border track. So obviously they met partway with the Binnaburra crew and joined up, and then it was completed. But yeah, there's a rock cairn there and some remains of the camp itself. Actually getting a little bit warmer now. Only a few degrees, but a little bit warmer. I think it's about 6 degrees when I left this morning. But the reason I'm heading out, the objective today is to find a waterfall. So hence why I left early, and if need be, I can come back in the dark. But I need to allow enough time to get into this particular gorge where I believe it is. There's no reference anywhere to this waterfall. I cannot find anything except a very short description of it in some old literature, and I've found an old map from 1915, and putting all that together, I believe I know where it is in the general area. This is another really nice corner as the border track crosses a creek gully. You can see there's a lot of lilies. They're actually a stream lily, or its actual name is a Helmholtzia lily, but they're a stream lily. They grow, hence the name, in streams, creeks, and down the sides of waterfalls as well. So they're really, the fronds on them can grow up to almost like 2 meters. So they're a really nice looking lily, actually. A lot bigger than some of those other small ones you encounter around waterways. Here's another beautiful section. These are absolutely magnificent. These are Antarctic beech trees, and look at, they're just covered in all the green. Look at that, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Just noticing the slow change, or the transition from forest types. Obviously, as you come up the road driving to O'Reilly's, you've got a lot of open eucalypt, and then it transitions into you, sometimes very abruptly, even though there's pockets of rainforest here and there on the way up. It then transitions to the subtropical rainforest, and then eventually out on to the temperate forest. So we're officially right on the edge of the McPherson Range, right on the rim of it. So up there is the actual true ridgeline, but obviously with a lot of graded tracks, they don't run the way you would normally navigate traditionally over the various topographical features. They don't do that. They try to keep the incline decline as minimal as possible. So that's why they've cut this and benched this along the side of the ridgeline, which happens to be right on the edge of the wall. And it's a very long way down. It's a slow drop off here, and then it just drops. So we're coming up to Echo Point, and it's such a fantastic lookout, just spectacular it is. I love this walk up to the actual peak. It like opens up and just sort of hides behind the views, are hidden behind the trees here. And then you get right the last little bit, and then just boom, opens right out to you. see that. Look at that massive scar. There's two actually running down from the top there, from the rock, sheer rock. Nothing's growing on it, and the water would just roar down that in heavy rain. I can actually hear a waterfall down in the gorge, and then you can see, look at that Mount Warning right out in the centre there. Just the sweeping views from this point is a brilliant spot. This was actually opened up by O'Reilly's back in 1912, I think it was. So it was just a rough track to it then. As you can see, where we're heading up there, the peaks are, well, you can't quite see Mount Warrendo, which is hidden around the right there. And you've got Mount Wuporn there, and then you've got Mount Durigan further over. So we're heading back from Echo Point, and we're just coming up, continuing into the campsite. This is Echo Point campsite. There's a few tent sites here. Fireplace. So we're going to head through the campsite, and we're going to head up. And this is actually a ridge that runs along the edge of the Valley of Echoes, or the Echo Point, and over there, which is if you go all the way over there to the edge, that's where it will just drop off. But for some reason this footpad doesn't actually follow the crest of the ridge up. It sort of meanders and sort of goes into some, well, doesn't really follow logic sometimes. I don't know why. There's quite a few trees and branches down here from all the wind. Coming up to a spot where last time and the time before that, when I was exploring the area, there's right in the middle of the footpad a bower made by a satin bowerbird, a male satin bowerbird. And the last time I was here, it seemed to be a lot less, so a rival could have started destroying it. But just right in the middle of the path, and all that effort they go to. This is amazing. So we've been going for a while now, up and down, but we're just keeping an eye out that we have to turn off, so we'll just keep an eye on that. So we've actually come to a bit of a tree fall here. There's a lot of branches and vines all down, so this is probably as good a spot as any to turn off. Hopefully I can hear water further down, which will give me an indication how close I'm getting to the waterfall. But anyway, we'll see how we go. As you can see, it's pretty thick, and the lawyer vine's actually pretty ordinary too. There's a lot of lawyer vine. But that's what happens when you don't have an actual footpad or track or anything to go on, but I'll just keep pushing on. I'm actually hearing, I don't reckon it's the wind. That's definitely waterfalls. It could be multiple falls, I don't know, because I've never been anywhere near it, that area before. And yeah, that's a lot of water. There's a lot of debris down. Just got to be careful where you put your foot to, because there's a lot of old rotten trees that are now just like pulp. That years ago you could have just stood on them, but not anymore. Come to this little minor creek gully, and I've been able to get a glimpse of a waterfall. I'm trying to see how high it is. That'll give me a clue as to whether that's actually the falls I'm looking for. I need to go downstream and look back up at it. So I don't think this is the falls. It's a nice waterfall, but it's definitely not. It's not tall enough. So we'll continue, see if we can get across this tree that's just fallen down. So that was a bit of a slippery slope, that one. We're just going to continue down to get some better footage of this set of falls here, and then we'll try that real. I'm assuming it's a fair drop down there. As you can see, there is a lot of debris that's washed down. I'm not going to go up through there. You're just asking for trouble. You get caught in that. It's that's a nice waterfall, that one. I don't know if you can see. It's probably, I don't know, probably about 5-6 meters tall, but it's more a cascade, not really a vertical waterfall. But anyway, have a look at this one here. So I reckon that's it. That's got to be it. It's more than one tier, so it's like a 2 or 3 tier waterfall. I'll have to check. And there's a massive landslide on the left of it too. Wow. So that's what we had to come down. It's pretty slippery, and the mud's really, really thick, and then it just gives way on you, so you got to be careful. But this is definitely the falls. It's equal to or better than some of the other falls on the other side, the popular falls. So I'm very, very pleased with this. It was definitely well worth pushing through all this. A lot of lawyer vine. So we'll do a nice shot of the falls, and it's definitely possibly a 3 tier. I'll show you over the side of the 2nd tier where it actually drops down. But let's do a shot of that now. if I was to continue down, you can actually see where it drops off just here into a probably more of a cascade, and then looking back you'd see this 2-tier waterfall just here. So that's the angle you would see, which I can't really get down there. It's just too dangerous along that edge. With that much water in the creek, there's no way you can get down the creek, and it's just very, very thick along the edge down there. It wasn't too bad back here, but it's very, very, very thick vegetation along there, and if you can't see the ground and you don't know where your foot's going, the whole lot could just give way and you go through it. So not worth the risk. But if you were to be able to get down the other side there of that last cascade, looking back up, I think that's effectively you'd get 3 tiers out of that. Even though the bottom one's a cascade, you could effectively say that's 3-tiered waterfall. So it's just spectacular. As you can see, that's the start of it behind me. Hits that pool and then just continues down. So a very profitable exploration, this one. Sometimes you go exploring and you just come back empty-handed, but that's absolutely brilliant. So we're going to have to head back. It's getting on 1:30, so my turnaround's 2 o'clock, absolute latest. So we'll head back and basically set a bearing for a particular point I know, so I'll cross over the ridge rather than go back up the ridge. It's just too much oil on.